Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Mad Realm's Vote to Kick. I'm your host, Jim, and with me this week, I got Anthony Ragucci back. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. I'm enlightened. I've beaten Kingdom Hearts 3, and life's good.
So you understand the secrets of the universe now.
Yeah. Oh, I feel like I have the keys to like a nuclear bomb. Like I could just decimate the world with my knowledge of Kingdom Hearts 3. Like I had like
keys.
The spoilers. True. I didn't even
I will drive across this state and kill you.
Yeah, like I could just let loose a nuclear bomb. Like you just couldn't stop me.
Actually, I drive across the state to kill you to keep my wife from doing worse things. But before we get into the topic of complex narratives in gaming, first let's talk about the results of the vote for the multi-guild system. Over to my right, we have our lovely pie chart, which, you know, Mac will be complaining about somewhere. But it was 9 votes, 5-4 to kick the multi-guild system. I can't say I'm terribly surprised. Still feel that it's not really the issue for guilds, but I'm not surprised to see people saying that they'd rather see it gone. But now we're on to this poll. We're talking about overly complex narratives in gaming, which is a bit topical because we've got Kingdom Hearts 3 that just finally released. So we're gonna talk about that. And Fenris, you're going keep, aren't you?
Indeed, I have to.
Well, we mentioned Kingdom Hearts, but you know we've also got a primary Metal Gear lorehound.
Yeah, and I'm primarily going to stay in those two games. I think they're like the peak examples of convoluted narratives. So I don't think I'm going to try to like branch over and use examples. And I'm probably not going to even talk about Kingdom Hearts 3. Just a fair warning. I'm not going to talk about Kingdom Hearts 3 that much on purpose. Just, for people who may be watching and maybe playing. But
I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure people watching appreciate it.
As I thought about it, I'm like, maybe I'm going to keep it to a minimum with talking about that game. But Metal Gear, Kingdom Hearts are like prime examples of convoluted story over 20 years of a franchise. So,
yeah, Quo has a point. Dragon Garden Nier and the Legacy of Kain. Legacy of Kain, she freaking loves that series. And it's time travel, so
I've heard of all of them. I didn't know they had convoluted stories. Nier, I kind of did. I know Nier Automata's weird, and actually the first Nier's weird. I didn't know their stories were like super convoluted, though. Really?
So, before we get just into talking about how convoluted things are, let's talk about keep. Why are you for keep?
We look at Kingdom Hearts. We have Metal Gear. Two series that have been around. Kingdom Hearts is at 17, Metal Gear's at like 25. So, they're both pretty dated. They've been around for a while, multi-generational consoles, and, they've been on a lot of stuff. Both of them been on not just main series consoles, but handhelds, which I think is where the reason this stuff gets convoluted, because a lot of games kind of go off and tangents and stuff and do things on other platforms. But I think when you look at a series like Metal Gear, you have the first one that's pretty base. Second one's pretty understandable if you play the second one. And then when it gets to 3, it starts expanding on its story and kind of explaining things that are not just within the characters, but also within the lore. And kind of be like, oh, like this is why this happened. This guy. This is him like 30 years ago. And let's tie all this story that's going to happen in this game into the other games. And it all kind of comes full circle. Gets a little convoluted also because, your main character's name is Snake. And there's like 4 snakes in the entire series. So it gets a little confusing on the surface level. But if you're a fan of this stuff and you're going beyond the surface level, you're playing all these games. Maybe not when they release, but at some point or another, like Kingdom Hearts, we got the opportunity. If you didn't play the spinoffs, you can play them all on PS4, which is nice. Metal Gear, it's not that nice. They kind of need to port the games just to like the modern day consoles, just so we have them there all once. But I feel once from an outsider's perspective, yeah, it's confusing and it's complicated and it's complex. But once you kind of dive in and start playing and start learning about what these worlds are and who these characters are and what their motivations are, it's so lush and it's so complex and it's so cool. There's so much cool stuff in Metal Gear and in Kingdom Hearts that there's the characters are so deep, the stories are so deep, but also when you get that complex, you got to make fun of yourself a little bit. Metal Gear is really silly and it takes itself super seriously. Like like way too seriously. But then on the other hand, they just make like funny jokes and like Kojima's humor is in there. And even in Kingdom Hearts 3, not to like give any specific examples, but it rips on itself all the time. Like it really like goes out of its way to be like, this is like really goofy and we're gonna overemphasize something and like just point it out. Like it's very obvious that we're making fun of ourselves right now. And they know. That's very meta. We know the story's complicated, but all the fans, especially when you get to the end of series, like Kingdom Hearts 3 is kind of the end of that saga, and Metal Gear Solid 4 is kind of the same thing that Kingdom Hearts 3 is, like the ends of that story, and they kind of come full circle, and fans of the series get it, and it may always not be welcoming, but hey, if you've been there in the long run, man, this story and this world and these characters mean so much and are just like really like nothing else out there. That's the thing. Like Kingdom Hearts and Metal Gear stand out above all the rest. And that's where I'll kick it over to you.
Now, it's kind of difficult for me to argue kick for the concept of complex narratives because I have bookshelves full of 4 or 5 plus novel series that are hundreds of pages thick. My problem with narratives in any kind of meaning or any kind of media is when a game is not planned to go beyond a single iteration.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Say you've got I don't know where Nomura had planned the story for Kingdom Hearts to go. When
Honestly,
Kingdom Hearts 1 came out.
The first game has a end credit scene or a secret ending that literally tees up 2 in 358, but I guarantee 358 wasn't a thing yet. But 2 was. And it tees it up and it pays that off in that game,
So it's one of those things where if there is a plan, kind of like talking about Guild Wars 2, I realize MMOs are different from like single player games that are released, but when, for example, in Living Story Season 1, when they destroyed Lion's Arch, developer interviews with the narrative team basically said, yeah, we wanted to do this 6 months into the game's release. That was planned. They talk, anytime the narrative team talks about anything, they have like the major points that they want to hit, and then they fill in the specifics to get to those steps. So as long as a story has a plan, filling in the details is fine.
Yeah.
But when you're just kind of trying to cobble story together to just make another game, it shows. So if there's any kind of kick for me, I would very much like to kick anything that was just, here's a cash grab, here's a cash grab. We're just going to try and drag along the story for as long as possible. And now I'm thinking about World of Warcraft. I mean, how many times have I complained? It's like, oh, we hate each other. Oh, here's this world-destroying thing that we have to set aside our differences to save the planet.
Now we hate each other again. But I would even say, like, WoW's like base story for expansions isn't convoluted, but its world is convoluted because there's so much of it, and not all of it's being like regurgitated, and stuff is forgotten, and then you got to remember stuff because then they talk about like Xavius and the Nightmare in Legion, and it's like, well, who the hell is Xavius? Let's go back to Warcraft 3. Let's go and like let's explain this. It's just like, yeah, it's especially for a game like WoW where it's stories. Some of it's being left behind, and maybe they're gonna tell a story down the road where it'd be like, hey, like we gotta like re-explain this stuff and then like add on to it and make it like probably a little confusing.
Or they could just add time travel. Oh,
Well,
wait, they already did that.
yeah, it was like they already did. Time travel makes things even worse. Kingdom Hearts. Dream Drop Distance is definitely a little bit of a confusing game, even for me. It's once you grasp the story, excuse me, it's easy to understand. Again, if you're playing through these games and like really giving it a fair shake, I think you're fine. But it's when people go, yeah, I'm going to jump into Kingdom Hearts 3. I haven't played any other games. Oh, I'm confused. Like, dude, like, come on. Like, you know what you're getting into. Don't sit here and say, oh, I'm confused. Like, when you didn't even play the other games. Like, that's where I'm just like, come on. I was like, don't sit here and say you don't know what's going on when like you probably knew going into this what this series like was known for. That gets me a little upset. It's just like don't criticize the game because you didn't play through the other ones.
Well,
like,
I watched a 35, 40-minute video.
Or watch a video or do research.
I mean, I tried. We tried to play because we bought the collection for Kingdom Hearts, and we were gonna play through at least 1 and 2.
Yeah,
and we did this last year, and then our PS4 bricked, and that was, I think we were easily halfway through like main plot line in Kingdom Hearts 1, and it's just kind of one of those things where it's just like, I don't want to do that again, because Kingdom Hearts 1 was it's a PS2 game.
It's a dated PS2 game. I played literally last February. I started with Birth by Sleep. I played chronologically through all the games, did all the platinums up until literally last month, right in time for Kingdom Hearts 3. So I've literally played the entire series in the last year. So yeah, Kingdom Hearts 1 is like the definition of a dated game. It's good, and like if you go back to that stuff, its stories, Kingdom Hearts 1 is pretty like base. Like it gets a little
wibbly wobbly.
Not really though. Like with Riku towards the end, things kind of like start not branch out, but like the story's kind of like expanding at that point. And then Chain of Memories is really when it gets kind of confusing.
Well,
or they invented stuff to be confusing. Obviously, like that wasn't planned.
That's because Chain of Memories is kind of more a bridge than anything.
Yeah, and it's another like let's just reuse assets.
And it's one of those things where it's kind of hard to do anything with the plot there. It's a lot of Kingdom Hearts is the sequel in a trilogy. Is number 2 in a trilogy. It is the middle point between 2 solid anchor points. That's actually kind of the thing that I got is that
I think I should rephrase you. Now it's 3 solid anchor points. There's stuff in the before 1, in between 1 and 2, and in between 2 and 3. That's really what it is.
Yeah, and it's a very strange construction. But going back to like the well constructed, like I'm totally okay with, like I said, good long form thing and clearly Nomura had a plan. Otherwise,
yeah, I would agree. Nomura had a plan, and Kojima definitely did not, and that's on record.
Nomura's plan is madness.
Yeah, it's crazy,
but it's working. Kojima is madness, and it's working, but it's clearly just one of those things where he's just like, well, kind of the whole point is to do ridiculous shit, but take it super seriously.
Yeah, like MGS4 is a great example of that, where the game is really kind of finishing up Solid Snake's story, but there's so much going on, and it's so meta with itself, and it's so like serious that like it's criticized even by fans. I keep hiccuping. I just ate. A lot of fans criticize that game just for being like so ridiculous. Like I'm not sure if you've ever seen MGS4,
I
but
haven't played a single one.
it's nutty. It can get really weird, but it has like the entire game is like a callback to Metal Gear Solid 1 and Metal Gear Solid 2 and Metal Gear Solid 3, at least towards the end for 3. And Metal Gear Solid 2 is like, let's take the player's expectations of Metal Gear Solid 1, twist it around, and let's see if what they expect of MGS2. That's like the point of the game is Kojima's like, what would a player expect of a sequel to Metal Gear Solid? And that is like the base idea of MGS2, because essentially, not to get too into it, the whole plot line is a one-to-one recreation of the Shadow Moses incident from the first game, the whole plot of the first game. It's like everything parallels it. And it's not obvious until it's pointed out. It's like, holy shit. Like it is. It's pretty much like the entire first game, and like a few different things happen. But yeah, it's MGS2 makes sense, but it's nutty from like a world story perspective, not necessarily a story that's being told, but everything outside of it kind of gets like, whoa, is the Colonel and Rose really real? No, they're AIs that have been talking to you based off Raiden's expectations and knowledge. Like it's crazy. Like it really doesn't make sense the first time going through, but like subsequent playthroughs, maybe research on the wiki, like you kind of understand that. And when you're getting into these kind of games, you're kind of like signing up to do that. Like you kind of have to go outside the game and maybe research something or look up a video just to get a grasp on it. It all comes full circle. Batman v Superman. You think I understood that movie the first watch through? No, it's very deep.
I'm talking about complex narratives. I'm going to get there. So hold that thought. Deo says, I personally hate it when a story goes to other consoles or systems exclusively. Not so much when it goes from, say, PS3 to PS4, as it's to sell a new generation, but when a story is put on a handheld exclusively, it just feels wrong. Now, I know that can very specifically be applied to Kingdom Hearts, because a lot of...
And Metal Gear.
Metal Gear had...
Peace Walkers on PSP. Or was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the times that's when like people go to handheld because they don't think it'll hold up on mainline consoles, or they don't get the approval to go to mainline consoles. Because
they're trying to make some quick money.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like the Game Boy Kingdom Hearts games, Sony probably looked at that and said no. And
it's literally an entire reuse of Kingdom Hearts 1. Like
and then Nintendo, and then they went to Nintendo and they're just like, hey, and Nintendo was like, okay.
Yeah.
But you brought up Batman v Superman.
I did.
And that's going in the other direction. And it often happens in adaptations of long form media into short form media. When you try to take influence of death, and this is specifically for you DC Comics fans, which, oh boy, Fenris, we need to do this podcast.
I know.
I'm going to set up a notebook for this, just so I can watch it and take notes on these movies when we finally get around to it. Batman v Superman, from what I understand, is post Death in the Family Batman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The conflict between Batman and Superman, the death of Superman, the introduction of Doomsday, and the introduction of Darkseid.
Yep.
That's five
and
major...
Lex Luthor.
And Lex Luthor. Well, Lex Luthor.
And
Jr.
Wonder Woman. And Flash.
And Aquaman.
And Cyborg. And Aquaman.
But it's one of those things where...
Not there yet.
You're taking all of these things and you're trying to condense them.
Yeah.
And that is the issue. The other direction is taking overly complex narratives and trying to tell them very quickly. So again, you have that concept of time and having a plan, and it kind of goes out the window when it's just like major plot point, major plot point, major plot point, and it kind of gets to a point where those major plot points don't mean enough to you, because that's where there's no time for build up and resolution in the standard narrative structure is that there's like you're always at 11. So the rest of the plot just doesn't feel like it goes anywhere because you're never not at 11. So
it's a good point.
And it really comes back to having, and like that's the thing is like how many issues of comics did it take for Death in the Family? How many issues did it take for Batman to fight Superman? How many issues did it take for Superman to die the first time? How many issues did it take to introduce Doomsday? Darkseid. I mean, I literally just watched the Death Battle thing. I learned that what Darkseid actually is from that. When they did Thanos v...
Pretty complicated.
When they did Thanos v Darkseid, I finally learned like the backstories for both of them, and it's just like, okay. But
yeah, Darkseid's pretty meaty, even though it's not. It doesn't need. It's not presented as meaty in Batman v Superman. It's not really presented at all in Batman v Superman.
Isn't he like the after credits scene basically?
The cut. It's cut. The scene where like Lex Luthor was communing with Well, it's not really Steppenwolf. I don't really know who it's supposed to be. I don't think it's Steppenwolf. I think it's just an apocalyptic thing. It was cut from the movie. It's 30 fucking seconds, and it explains so much, and they cut it. Stupid. Get out of here. It's
they let a trailer company recut. They let a trailer company recut Suicide Squad. So
anyway, we should probably get
back to complex narratives because Cole brings up a good point. Complex stories also get gutted when the writers feel the need to do exposition dumps. What's the point of having a complicated plot if you need to handhold people? I agree with that completely. Look at the From Software games. The Dark Souls and the Dark Souls series and Bloodborne. You have to figure shit out.
Mm-hmm.
You have to find all of the items. You have to explore all of the nooks and crannies. You sometimes have to kill friendly NPCs just to get the items that they have that are unique to them, to read the flavor text on those items to figure out more story.
Would you say the Soulsborne series is mainstream?
Well, considering that one of my previous vote to kicks was the like X but, and I brought up Bloodborne, Dark Souls and Bloodborne specifically, yes. Like in the gaming sphere, I would definitely say that the From Software games are mainstream to the point where other gaming companies are mimicking the concept. I talk like Darksiders 3 is similar Soulsborne stuff. Like it has the similar death mechanic. Then you had Lords of the Fallen and several other games that did something similar. I would say in a narrative perspective, the Soulsborne series is probably the best told super complex narrative, but without just kind of being like information and just kind of punching people in the face with a wall of text.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, whatever way you would have said that, I would have agreed with you. I think it is mainstream, but I also think it's kind of niche. I can't really explain that, but it's
it's mainstream in that everybody knows what they are.
Yeah. Not that everyone plays it.
Exactly. It is a niche play style, but it is known. My thought on the concept of mainstream is how much it is recognized.
Okay. Yeah, that's probably a better description. I was, when I said mainstream, I was thinking like
widely played.
Yeah. I like your definition better.
It has too complex a gaming mechanic to be something that's really considered a widely played game style.
So to go off your point though, like Dark Souls and Bloodborne and Metal Gear and Kingdom Hearts have these insanely like lush and like lush stories and characters and developed worlds, and like you don't really get that kind of stuff with, I'm trying to think of a game off the top of my head,
Mario,
Fallout, with maybe a game like a single BioShock. Like you don't have enough time to kind of like And like I think Bloodborne does it in one game. It just makes it all confusing. Like you don't know what the fuck's going on if you're not reading item descriptions or looking at Vati videos, lore videos.
I'm not gonna lie, Vadi. He sure
Dude,
as hell helped me make sense of a lot of that stuff going on in Bloodborne.
Oh, same with me. I mean, I'm reading stuff, but like sometimes you forget things and you move on and you don't remember stuff because they talk about like characters, in the beginning of the game and then towards the end you forget things. So I mean, having that stuff's kind of important, but if it was just simple and here's the story, like not on rails, but like the story was just like simple. I'm really struggling, like finding a game. I'm like thinking of a game with an insanely simple, maybe like something like Mass Effect. I think Mass Effect's very simple and easy to understand. It's not complex at all, for the most part.
In the minutia, it is, especially in 3 when you start getting into the effects of your previous 2 gameplays through it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to talk about the last part of the game, but. Because, for example, in the first one, you run into that scientist in Saren's, the one sorry scientist that Saren is employing, and you can either kill her or let her go. No, it's just a random Asari scientist.
Okay.
And you can either kill her or let her go. If you let her go, she shows back up in 2 in the one Krogan warlord's place where you get. I can't remember the Grunt, where you get Grunt. And there you can either kill her or let her go.
I don't think that's convoluted, though.
But then if you let her go yet again, she shows up in a newsreel as a...
She turns into a banshee in 3.
Yeah, she turns into a banshee in 3.
Her. Yeah, I forgot about her.
And you hear about it in like a news article in one of the random scrolls that you get during loading screens. So it's not necessarily convoluted, but there are many plot threads that are set off by little things in the Mass Effect. Meticulous continuity.
So maybe that wasn't a good example. Here's a good example. Tomb Raider, the new ones. Extremely straightforward. You know?
I can agree with that.
And honestly, I'll give you a hot take right here. The new Tomb Raider series sucks. It's not good. And I have a lot of reasons for that.
I'll
disagree
with that, but
it's not just because of the gameplay and the story. There's a lot of stuff that goes into that opinion, and we can delve in it.
I feel like that might be a decent drunk cast at some point.
I like its story is so easy to understand. It's not complex, and it really doesn't do.
Well, it's an action adventure game. That's not
true.
Surprising.
Yeah, but like you're never gonna get like a lush like world out of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, but okay, National Treasure. Did
Great
we really want a lush world out of that, or did we want to hear Nicolas Cage talk about stealing the Declaration of Independence?
True, and I guess you can play the card. Hey, like sometimes you just go to watch a movie to watch people blow each other up.
I bought.
That's a good card.
I bought Wanted. I don't think it's a serious movie. The whole concept of curving the bullet is kind of dumb, but
hey, James McAvoy's career starter right there. I'm pretty sure
it was a well, like the CGI was good, the action scenes were good because of the stupid physics bending, but it's an action flick. That's what the new Tomb Raider series is.
So
it's
let me
better characterization.
Yeah,
but it's a simple game.
Let me kind of build on that point. Wow, I just was gonna say.
Let me build on that point with.
No, I had it and I was like ready to like cut you off and interject because I was gonna forget it.
James McAvoy.
No.
Okay.
So this is why you have these insanely passionate fans, because this story is so super complex and super interesting and super cool to understand.
Investment, yeah.
Yeah, and it's why like a series like I'll use the new Tomb Raider, forget the old ones, even though they're important, but they don't really bring like plot over, so it doesn't really count.
They bring themes over.
Yeah, you're not getting like those ravenous Tomb Raider fans who want that lore and that story. Like it just doesn't happen, which is fine. I'm not saying that's a fault, but it's not that type of game. But when you have a series like Kingdom Hearts, like Bloodborne or I'll just say Dark Souls because it's actually serious. Dark Souls and Metal Gear, where like the lore is just being expanded with each title, and characters are getting more and more complex and more interesting, and you're really understanding them and maybe relate to them. I think that's like really rare that games like kind of really go to that level, like especially someone like Riku in Kingdom Hearts or Solid Snake in Metal Gear. Like their arcs are absolutely insane, and like how much they've changed. And like you can't tell that in like a game or two. Like Riku really changes like through like the entire series, and even in 3, like he's a totally different character. Sora not really, he's the same character, and that's kind of the charm of him. Is he so?
Well, I kind of figured that was the point of Sora.
Yeah,
Like
it very much is. Everyone like
object.
he likes everyone, and he sees the good in everyone, and he's happy for most of the time.
He's the shonen protagonist.
Yeah, but like again, that's his character. Riku is the one with the more depth. Like he has,
Well,
like,
at least he gets over being Sasuke, so that's.
Does he though?
Is he not an angsty revenge?
I don't know, man. You don't know. maybe he is angsty. He does some angsty things in Kingdom Hearts 3. I mean, like nothing like crazy. He's like, yeah, Riku, you dark son of a bitch, you bad boy.
Well, I'm not going to get into the minutia of Naruto, but he
get that long hair.
experiences character growth. Sasuke really didn't, so
I can't speak to Naruto, so go for it.
So I suppose that's where we stand. Is that the benefit of a super complex, dense narrative or lore to a game is what creates investment. It's what keeps people coming back to a game. It's how you get a fan. And
or like not even just fans, like the Kingdom Hearts fan base and the Metal Gear fan base are like, I would say more Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts fans are like really well known for being like absolute zealots about it. I'm very like much like that, like and like you need the story and the characters in the world to back up why they are like that. You can't just have that.
And then on my side of things is there are so very many pitfalls to having a dense, complex lore, in that you can create your own plot holes that you have to hand wave around. You can just be throwing random shit at the wall to create more money for yourself. Looking at you, World of Warcraft, you could just create this dull experience that just keeps happening over and over again for no real reason other than you want to put out another game. So these kinds of stories require passion, and that's why I'm cautious about stuff. Yeah, there goes Malik from Guild Wars 2. Shout out to Sylvari.
Oh, in the Sylvari. Yeah, him.
But, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Mad Realms Vote to Kick. I've been your host, Jim. You can find me on Twitter, @MalthanusMMO. You can find twitch.tv/MadRealms live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time for this very show, followed by Zero to Hero, where I think I'm just kind of generalizing that into more skill-based games, because I played Salt and Sanctuary last week. I think I'm going to play that again, because Guild Wars 2 PvP is in a place right now.
I feel like it's been in a place for a while.
There's been no big balance patch for a while, and
so wait, was that supposed to come out on Tuesday or no?
No, there was no mention of a balance patch for this patch.
So, but like that patch that got delayed came out.
Yeah, but we'll talk about that after I finish recording. My guest this week, Anthony Ragucci. You can find him on Twitter @_the_gooch_.
There we go.
I'm gonna do that every time you're on the show until you change.
Yeah. I won't get into it. I don't want to like extend your outro. Just go for
But
it.
you can also find him on content at Delco Nerd Network, where he does his own fun podcast times and stuff about comics and superhero movies and fun stuff. So check him out there. This channel is also live on Saturdays at 4 p.m. Eastern Time for Talking Script, our weekly Guild Wars 2 news podcast. There's several things dropping this week. It's not going to be all that slow, which is good to hear. And also, guess what?
I'll be there.
He's going to be
I'm
on
coming
this chat
back
twice. But, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have a fantastic evening. For those of you on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, bell, vote in the description. Let us know why you voted the way you did, and let us know what kind of games that you like with overly complex narratives. We talked about Metal Gear Solid. We talked about Metal Gear. We talked about Kingdom Hearts. I mentioned the Legacy of Kain series earlier on. If there are, and the Soulsborne games, if there are any other series that you love that have super complex lore, just let us know. And to be honest, I'd like to know, because I want to get into some deep story, because that's just a thing I dig in games. So have a good night, everybody.
See you later.